The following programme has not been approved by any sanctioning bodies associated with MLS, US Soccer, or Don Garber. It is not intended to replace actual informed opinions from soccer experts. Side effects may include propensity to spout bad takes, excessive use of salary acronyms, and a longing for the return of running penalty kicks. The World Scam is not responsible for increased enthusiasm for Major League Soccer after listening. Enjoy at your own risk.
Hey, you. Welcome back to the World's Game. We're so happy to have you here. Kevin Wallace, along with the Chief and Grayson. And Chief?
Yes?
Welcome back to the playoffs. It's been so long.
I know. Feel like they went away from my life. They abandoned me. They went out to the convenience store to get a pack of cigarettes and some smokes. But you know what? Miracle of miracles, they came back. It's a true Hallmark movie moment. The playoffs, they have returned to us. They have returned to the soccer public of the United States of America. And now, Kevin, as a result of this schedule flip, we can now count the number of international windows interrupting our playoffs that remain before we never have to deal with this again. We are down to just one more interruption in the MLS CUP playoffs presented by Audi, as discussed by the World's Game. That's it. So, I hope you enjoyed this break. There is only one more of them that you will get to enjoy as an MLS fan going forward. So,
damn.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to miss it a little bit.
No, you're not. None of us are going to miss this. None of us are going to miss this. None of us are going to miss the existential dread and excitement mixed together of seeing one of our team's players in the 11 for their national team in an international break in the playoffs.
And being mad about it.
It's so awesome he's starting, but also like, I really need this person not to get hurt badly.
Yeah. I think, it'll be a nice change. Everything else, is up for discussion. I think that specifically is an undeniable good about the impending schedule change. But Grayson, ironies of ironies, we had this entire international break where for MLS, it was sort of a news desert, a content desert, if I will. And all of a sudden, MLS can't stop breaking news. This has been one of the most eventful 10 days in the history of MLS.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like they planned it this way, right? It's like, we're taking a hiatus and we're just going to drop all the stuff.
It's like they have the Friday news dump in politics. They've got the international break news dump in MLS.
Yeah. It's like
just one long Friday.
If it's what you say, I love it, especially late in the international window.
Man, like we were able to immediately react to the schedule change, which was, of course, the headline last week, and the sort of proposed playoff change and division change. Those aren't confirmed, but they seem to be moving in that direction.
And more importantly, they have allowed everyone on Twitter, or I'm sorry, X, the everything app, it's all happening on X. They've allowed everyone to get into everyone's favorite season, and that's let's draw circles around icons on a map to make divisions.
Yes, we love it.
I love it. I am not ready to debut my proposed division alignment for MLS, but rest assured, we're in the labs, we're working on this, and it's going to be a doozy. I think people are going to really enjoy it.
I hope we get like a warning before MLS actually debuts the divisions, because I do want to create the definitive, the World's Game division
proposal.
And it's just like right now is not the time to do that because we have other stuff to talk about, because it's too early. But if MLS has any sense, they will give its content creators of which we are one of few, the opportunity to like devote a little bit of time to like division debate.
Yeah, I think that'll be some good discourse. Chief, I am curious though. I don't want to spend too much time on divisions, but I just want to.
I mean, it's par for the course in this country over the last like decade. So
a quick.
We are
sort
united by our division.
I do want to like a heat check though. How do we feel about like I think of the NFL in NFC East situation where we're fine with like a couple of geographical oddities for the sake of storylines.
right, so that we can keep the Cowboys and Indians together for all times. I don't hate it, and I think that that's kind of a big thing that I'm thinking is that we're thinking about this way too geographically and literally, and we're not devoting enough energy and attention to vibes. Because like you look at the maps people are drawing, and the vibes are all wrong with certain teams. Like the vibes are all wrong with, Montreal. And so I ask myself, why can't there be a division where Montreal and Miami are in the same division? Like, what better place to get away to for an away day every year if you are a Quebecois than, a little snowbird excursion down to Florida? I'm thinking out loud. Like we can gerrymander this to the point where it makes sense.
Yeah. One that jumped out at me, and it does involve Texas, is I have not seen a single proposal, including like 4 or 5 that I have made as well along the way, but I am regretting this now, that hasn't put Columbus and Austin in a division together.
Exactly.
That needs to happen.
There's a lot going on there. You've got the history between the Precourt, Columbus Crew, Austin. You've also got, it's a Big Ten rivalry now. People forget, or not a Big Ten, it's they're 2 college towns, SEC, Big Ten, cities that were defined for a long period of time by the fact that the main focus was either the Longhorns or the Buckeyes. There's a lot of similar vibes here. And I again, we can gerrymander this into existence. We can do this.
Yeah, and Chief, you brought up Montreal getting away to Miami. That's another one that I feel like people haven't paid that close attention to. Like, I've seen the Cascadia grouped in with Real Salt Lake and Colorado, and I'm thinking like, hey, winter comes, somebody has to go somewhere. And I'm not saying like Cascadia is like winter hellscape in the middle of December or anything, but like there's got to be a lot more north-south divisions here.
Like you make the Sky Miles division where it's the Cascadia 3, and then it's Miami, it's Orlando, and Atlanta. It's the longest flights you can possibly make.
There's a really funny division of like Montreal, Vancouver, San Diego, Miami, and Kansas City. It's just the worst.
Minnesota, Atlanta, Real Salt Lake, LA, and New York. It's the where do I change planes when I'm on a Delta flight?
Yeah, right. Yeah, actually, we signed a huge sponsorship with Delta, and we just make sure one hub is in every division.
Spot the problem here. I'm seeing nothing but green lights. But that was last week, Kevin.
Yeah,
has been an inordinate amount of MLS news. The biggest story is the biggest bummer. So I say we save that for last, and we go first into what I thought was the more interesting and sort of like, not like I feel icky the longer the story goes on.
Yeah.
And that was the Apple TV media deal. The word comes out. We'd already known and we'd already found out last week during the proposed schedule shift and the vote on the schedule shift that as part of that Apple TV would be removing the MLS League Pass and that all MLS games would just go on to, I don't even think they're calling it Apple. They're calling it Apple TV. I don't know if it's Apple Plus, Apple TV. They haven't decided on a branding as far as I know.
It's Apple TV for now.
Well, Apple TV used to be a thing you bought. And then
it still very much is, by the way.
Steve Jobs is just turning over in whatever cryogenic chamber he was placed in with the naming.
So just to recap, there's Apple TV the box. It is a very nice streaming box. If you have a Fire Stick or Roku and you're ever annoyed with it, I promise you the Apple TV is worth 100% of the very expensive price tag that it carries. In Apple TV, the product, the object, there is the Apple TV app. So you go to the Apple TV app and you can actually access like the iTunes library. You can rent movies. You can access like Paramount Plus content through the Apple TV app. You can also download the Apple TV app on Android phones, iPhones, whatever. Within the Apple TV app, Chief, you can subscribe to the streaming service called Apple TV.
Plus.
No.
Go,
They
just now,
dropped
Apple
the plus like 2 weeks ago. It is Apple TV within Apple TV within Apple TV.
being watched on an Apple TV.
Of course.
Yeah. No, this is, have you received good customer service is the only question right here. So we knew last week that they would be dropping the League Pass, and just everyone that subscribes to Apple TV will now have the ability to watch MLS. And we all, I think to a person, everyone has thought this is a good idea. It puts MLS on the same tier as the F1 package that Apple has for the United States and the Friday Night Baseball that Apple TV has. None of those required or will require a second subscription. So this is one less layer between the some 40, 50 million Apple TV subscribers and the ability to watch MLS. And now if you're a season ticket holder, you will get Apple TV as part of your season ticket package as opposed to just the season pass, which is a way better deal, like just exponentially better deal to get access to all the other things we talked about. And also just some of the most banger TV shows that you've never heard of because nobody markets any of this stuff. It's just, It's hidden in plain sight there. What was released afterwards and what sort of trickled out afterwards is that there's also going to be some changes to the Apple TV deal with MLS. Specifically, when MLS signed this deal to go with Apple TV, it was a 10-year deal originally, but importantly, there was a very early opt-out that MLS would have had that I believe was after the 2026 or 2027 season.
It was 2027, and Apple had
it was a sole termination that Apple had, basically an out if this deal wasn't working well. But otherwise, it was scheduled to go till, I believe, 2032, I want to say.
2032 or 2033.
Yeah, 2032, I believe. So it was scheduled to go to 2032. Well, as a result of what we have learned coming out, is that the media deal will not be terminated by Apple at the early termination, but it will be terminated early by mutual agreement of the parties. Apple TV will remain the home of MLS for next year, the year after, and the year after that. And then after the switch to the winter schedule is complete, which means we go through the mini schedule that we'll have, the sprint schedule, in the winter of, I believe, 2027 will be the sprint schedule. And then there will be a full year of the new schedule. And then the Apple deal with MLS will end. Now, as a result of these changes, there's also going to be some increased payments to MLS. The teams are going to be making more money as a result of this. But the bottom line is that we are no longer seeing a marriage of Apple and MLS that's lasting until the 2030s. Kevin, when you saw this, what was your reaction to this? Because it's kind of a weird Rorschach test.
Yeah, it's exactly the phrase I was going to use.
For what you already think about this. And the usual cast of MLS commentariat online had their predictable reactions based on their opinions of the league, the Apple deal, the paywall situation. Whatever you already thought about this, it seems like it's kind of reinforced it, but I'm curious what your takeaway was, Kevin.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I laughed. Like, I literally laughed out loud when I read the news because it was exactly that. It was like, if you thought this was a bad deal, then you would say Apple's getting out early. MLS has to go back with their tail between their legs because their additional subscription service didn't work out. They were banking on so many millions of people signing up that they were going to make so much money once they, met the threshold. And now MLS looks dumb and Apple wants out early. Okay. And I think if you just look at it that way, I can understand where you're coming from. The other side of it is, Apple is not exercising its opt-out when it could have if it truly hated this deal. The teams are going to get paid more money in the meantime, like while the deal is active. So from that perspective, it's good. And I think it is fair to have everybody reassess how all of this goes with the schedule change. Because if it is gangbusters, if this truly does what MLS hopes it does, and it makes the playoff product more valuable, if it makes it more valuable to sort of resell the sort of not re-airing, but the multicast or simulcast of the games, then yeah, it would make a lot of sense from MLS's perspective to go back and test the markets there. We are also seeing the media landscape rapidly changing. Like, what the NFL is doing is starting to have, I think, genuine backlash to fans. We've already seen the fight between Disney and YouTube TV. Like, who knows what this looks like in just a couple of years? Maybe there's a version of this where the Fox streaming service will overpay to bring MLS over or what have you, right? So there's a lot of different versions of this that I think overall, I think is a good, positive thing for the league. I think it's fair for people to be a little nervous, but I think that they're waiting to see the sort of proof of concept with how the schedule change goes and potentially with Messi leaving the league and what does that look like?
So Grayson, the way this is going to work out is that the payments once MLS moves to the winter schedule jump from $200 million per year to MLS to $275 million. So about 30%, over a 30% jump. The deal has 2 years under the new schedule. A lot of people have pointed out that it does seem to coincide a little bit with two things. One, the World Cup here in the United States to see what the bump is that soccer experiences, and also, not for nothing, the Messi contract that Apple is paying a lion's share of. Do you think this is a sign Apple is happy with MLS, or do you think that this is a sign that Apple is a little more uncertain about MLS long term with this schedule flip?
I think the fact that Apple gave up its opt-out and is paying the same amount of time over, or is paying more money over a shorter period of time, indicates that MLS wanted out of the deal more than Apple wanted out of the deal. And I think it's likely that that MLS thinks that with the schedule change, they can do better than the current deal. But I also don't think that we'll be able to like really evaluate any of this for years.
I think that's accurate, and I think Kevin, you make the point, and I think
you guys might have said that, but I was very distracted by a heartwarming local news story that I was and that I can't stop thinking about. But sorry, so I apologize that I wasn't like dialed in for this whole conversation.
No worries. The interesting thing to me, Kevin, I think your point is correct, and Grayson made a similar point, and that's that the whole reason for this schedule shift is we've talked about it, was aligning with the FIFA international calendar to make the sporting directors happy and hopefully increase the quality of player in MLS. But the other big thing was that everyone kept citing was to get their playoff inventory out from under the shadow where it currently sits of college football, the National Football League, earlier the World Series, college basketball. The NHL is back. The NBA is back. Like, more people this weekend are going to be focused on NFL games and major college games with playoff implication than they are actual playoff games in MLS. And there is no point to doing this if you are not going to try and leverage more money out of your TV partner. Like, if you're going to move your playoff games and upset the entire apple cart with your schedule to try and make these more valuable, it doesn't make sense to only realize that extra value in 2032. You're going to want to go to market earlier and offer this product to TV partners and say, hey, maybe you weren't interested in MLS when this was when the games were, but can we interest you in MLS when the games are now, where its only competition is, early playoff basketball and hockey and Major League Baseball, that there is no football. There is no football. This is what we have to offer you at a time when, unless you are a rights holder for one of these sports, and to be clear, only two of those sports have like major national TV presences. Baseball does not have a major national presence on television anymore. There is local, regional broadcasting for baseball. The NBA and the NHL are the only two properties playing in this time period where there's a national media contract. So there is presumably, I would expect, a large number of suitors that would be interested in acquiring inventory to show that MLS now has to offer, and they will get a chance to offer that inventory earlier as a result of this deal. So I look at this as a positive for MLS. I think it makes a lot of sense.
For sure. Chief, I think this is the first year of the NHL, maybe it's the second year of the NHL being on ESPN's network, but I think that means the Stanley Cup playoffs will largely be on ABC, right?
Yes. Well, I think they're going to split them. I think TNT occasionally gets the Stanley Cup playoffs. I think. I'm not as familiar with that deal.
And I know ABC has always had, or for the longest time has had, the NBA finals. Maybe that goes to NBC now that they picked up some of that. Regardless, you'll notice, however that shakes out, both CBS and Fox are without live programming to drive that time of year in May, right then and there. I think MLS is positioned very well. And what we have seen through all of the various streaming wars and channels is that the only thing that truly moves the needle is live sports. It's one of the only sort of appointment viewing left in the United States outside of, apparently, according to Netflix, various celebrity boxing events and hot dog eating contests,
which are both forms of live sports. Let's
fair.
And you'll note as well that there hasn't been a major there hasn't been a fight that you've heard about where people are taking to X, the everything app. It's all happening on X, to complain about the fact that Bravo is in a carriage fight with the cable company. Like, I like Below Deck as much as the next fellow that's forced to watch it with his wife. Nobody is fighting because they're taking my Bravo away from me. But like the minute ESPN or Fox, or you're going to miss a Monday Night Football game, that's when people get up. And you can tell that that's where the priority is for linear cable and in the streaming realm as well. So we have that. And the other sort of minor news item before we get to the bad news and the sad news is we did find out, and this broke a little earlier today into last night, that MLS has already started succession planning for one Don Garber as MLS commissioner. Now, I think it's important to note at the outset right here.
I will do it.
You'll do it, Grayson?
I'll do it.
When America needed him most. Grayson's...
I mean, I've got a number. It's not a big number.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's probably a smaller number than appearing on camera.
I will quote, famous historical figure: if nominated, I will not run; if elected, I will not serve.
You could probably finance a small independent time travel film for the number that's in my head. So that's the trade-off.
All right.
Hey,
all right.
There you go. So, but before we get too deep into this, I do want to make sure that we are all on the same page on this. This is one of my pet peeves about discussions of sports commissioners. And if you'll indulge me for a second,
Please.
whenever something bad happens with the MLS that people don't like, on Reddit, on X, on wherever you are, wherever you're discussing MLS, and I'd like to know, where are people discussing MLS? Because the MLS Reddit is deader than a doornail right now. There's nothing going on there. Whenever something happens that people don't like, it's always, oh, Don Garber is ruining American soccer. Another Don Garber decision. Don Garber this, Don Garber that. Same thing in the NFL. Oh, Roger Goodell hates football. Roger Goodell is ruining the NFL. Yada, yada, yada. The only role of a commissioner of a professional sports league, the only role, is to be the front-facing bad guy that tells you the decisions that the billionaires made in the closed-door meeting, and to take the bullet for those decisions, and to be you're the external tormentor that is ruining your vibe or doing the thing you don't like or suspending your favorite player or making the rule you don't like, when in reality, his bosses, the billionaires that own all these clubs, are voting and making these decisions, and he's just the mouthpiece that announces them. So if you are getting mad ever at Don Garber, congratulations. He is doing his job effective and exceptionally, because you are mad at the wrong person. You are not mad at the owner of your team for the dumb vote. You're mad at the person who told you the news and explained to you what the billionaires did instead. So
Yeah.
from that standpoint,
If you're mad at Don Garber, you should be mad at the owner of your favorite team. That's who owns your ire. Like, Don Garber is the avatar for
Yes.
the decision of the ownership, but like, it's not like Don Garber is like going rogue. You know, it's not like all the owners are like, no, Don, no, don't do it. And Don's like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. No,
wrong Don.
It's like yelling at a customer service rep about something that like a big company is
it's
doing.
the same. It's the same purpose. Like, the
Yeah.
customer service rep who has no power to help you with your problem
Right.
is there to get you. Is there to get yelled at.
Yeah.
Instead of the person who is responsible for your problem.
Yes.
And the only thing the customer service rep can do wrong is transfer your call to the person who made the decision and make it their problem.
Yeah, right. So, like, you walk into like an Apple store.
If your flight gets canceled and you're shouting at the customer service rep, the worst thing that person can do is transfer your CEO, your call to the CEO of the airline. Like, that's the only thing that's the only way that person gets fired.
like you walk into an Apple store and you like start like slamming stuff down, and you're like, I was told by Apple Care that they would have the part. Yeah, nobody in that store is Apple Care.
Right. They're just dudes. They're just people.
So they're just dudes. And so in this particular case, this dude, Don Garber, is the thought is that this is his last.
By the way, I don't feel bad for Don Garber. He knows what his job is.
And he's very well compensated for his job.
He makes a ton of money, and he knows the gig. But everyone else just should be very clear-eyed as to what the gig is.
Yes.
And
I will say, though.
It's a great gig. I would do it. Again, I would do it for... I'm not going to reveal my number.
But there is a number.
I bet they would meet it.
But, Chief, I will say, with the case of Don Garber, I do think of the various commissioners in American sports history, I do think he has probably been, I would go as far as to say, the most powerful one. And I'll say that for this reason. There was, and there's been reporting on this, there was a point in time around 2000, 2001, where the league had functionally died, that the owners at that point had voted to fold the league. And there was some 72-hour period before like the vote, but in between the vote and it being like legally so, that Don himself was able to call a couple of owners, in particular Phil Anschultz and I forget exactly which Hunt, and got them to save the league.
I think it was Lamar Hunt still at the time.
Okay. So yeah, it was either going to be Lamar or his son who ended up.
It would either be Lamar or Clark.
Yeah, who ended up running a bunch of the soccer teams. So I do think from that perspective, like Don has had more power. I mean, it's literally saving the league.
Yeah, you can do a good job.
But yes,
as
your
commissioner,
overall point is
for sure.
100% correct. And if people are mad about like the schedule change, that is not a Don Garber decision. That is something that the owners.
Can you imagine Don Garber going into like that meeting and saying, "Sorry, Minnesota. Sorry, Canada.
Right.
It's like also funny with like people use like Garber bucks for like MLS roster rules. The MLS roster rules are like, to the extent that Don Garber has a hand in like creating MLS roster rules, it's at the impetus of like cheap owners.
Yes.
Right. It's trying to like find a compromise between the cheap and you know, other like profligate owners.
Having said that, they really should have Garber bucks, and like there should be a suitcase of Garber bucks that gets transferred between teams on a casher.
There is. Like, you have to. They're all attached to Kamal Miller. Kamal Miller has the suitcase.
He's the bag man.
Yeah. He's got the football, as it were. Yes.
The Garber nuclear football. Either they need to be actual a suitcase full of Garber bucks, or it needs to be some sort of a meme coin that the teams trade with one another. That you can actually invest in Garber bucks or GAM.
There should be a kind of allocation money that explodes at an indeterminate time.
Like an ink bomb in it.
Yeah. And no team knows when it goes. And it just explodes at some point.
I think
which like obviously like all this stuff's on a spreadsheet, so like nobody gets hurt, but like the money is gone. Like at some point in time, no one knows when it is.
Is this like a Joker in the Dark Knight situation where somebody just sets the pile of money on fire?
Right. It's just like you get a pile of money, and the question is like, can we trade it before it explodes?
No.
Can we get Bryce Duke before the money goes away?
I don't know if we've talked about it on this show, or I don't know where we've talked about this, but like I really do think that you should be able to bet. Teams should be able to bet with
we've definitely talked about this.
Yes, obviously.
That like a GM should be able to say, I'm so confident we're going to win this weekend. I'll put $50,000 in GAM on the line between this and, our game against Toronto. That like GMs that before the season starts, there should be a high stakes poker tournament that takes place in Vegas where it's the buy-in is $150,000, $200,000 in GAM. And whatever GM plays best, and they can televise it like the World Series of Poker back in the day. And it's just, it's like Chris Albright or Issa Tall pushing all in on ace jack off suited.
I'm less enthused on like, I'll bet $50,000 in GAM my team wins this weekend, but I'm all in on teams tournament. Go to a poker tournament and they all bet $150,000 in GAM, and it's either like a winner takes all, or you can do like some type of
all right, so
thing and like televise it, put it on Apple TV.
Yeah, it should absolutely be on Apple.
Not plus. Reviews Apple TV minus.
Depending on your winnings or losing. So are you Apple TV Plus or Apple TV Minus this week? All right, so I can't get you on board with betting on the game. So what if GAM was usable in like a poly market situation where it's like, if you're a GM, it's like it's like I'm putting
legally, Grayson, it is very different.
I'm putting $50,000 on, they are going to reveal aliens are real this year. And it's like, it's a low stakes bet, but like if it turns out, you can absolutely afford any player in the league on a cash for immediately.
I like the GAM. I like the poker idea.
I am obsessed with Grayson's idea of a poison pile of money. Like at the beginning of every season, it's $250,000 of GAM. Of your GAM allotment is dead GAM, but it only goes to one team. Nobody knows who has it except for the team that has it.
Like a secret Hitler situation?
No.
Yes.
I would even accept a $250,000 pile of dead gam that goes to a random team.
Yes.
Like, it's not part of your game allotment. It's a bonus.
Oh.
And
But you have to
nobody
trade it to
knows
somebody else.
Nobody knows who has it. Yeah.
But so it's like Old Maid, where if like you're caught with the
Yes, that's.
gam
I was
allotment,
thinking
that's
like Pitt or Old Maid.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like if
And
you're
whatever,
caught with
and
it,
whatever date it expires.
Yeah.
Which is different every year.
and then you're like not compliant by that much, which may mean like at the end of the summer window you have to cut somebody.
Yeah. At
To
the end of the summer window,
stay-
you have to kill Drake Callender.
Oh my God, that might explain what Miami did.
he was the living embodiment of the poison gam. It's already here with us.
You have to send Drake Callender to the what's the Stranger Things place?
The Upside Down.
The Upside Down.
Yeah. There's
the Quantum
another
Zone.
There's another board game mechanic, which is like you have a currency, your opponent has a currency, but it's worthless unless you trade with each other. So you could have like trade gam, not that Tam isn't already
They call
taken.
that DeAndre Yedlin.
Yes. And so this money only exists if you are exchanging it for a player with another team.
Yeah.
Either way, they're missing. As long as Gam and Tam is a part of this league, they are absolutely missing the boat on fun things that they can do.
Yes.
You know, maybe they go on. You know, this is popular with the kids. They have like Mr. Beast type challenges that general managers can participate in, where there's more Gam available if they, spend an entire weekend, living in the back seat of a Ford Fiesta. If you can survive for like 1 week here, there's $50,000 more in Gam. It's like, well, how much do you want to make this deal for a super draft pick?
I want
if your general manager can live for 17 hours in the back seat of a Volkswagen Beetle with the windows rolled up in Joshua Tree National Park in the middle of July,
they will get
$200,000 of GAM.
Your
That's
general
good for-
manager has to sit in a house with the doors locked with 10 of the most obsessed fans on your team's local Facebook group.
No.
If he can
Torture.
successfully survive this 10 days with these super fans, your team can have $200,000 in GAM.
But if they quit early, they lose 100,000 in GAM.
If your GM can name a single Tate McRae song, you get $7 million in GAM.
Oh my God.
The GM knows who Tate McRae is. You get half that already. Can you identify Tate McRae in this lineup?
Chief,
Well,
I will
sorry.
say.
That's Emma Stone.
Yeah. Oh, so
Ooh.
close.
So close.
Ooh, that was Natalie Portman in the hit film Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. That is not Tate McRae.
You were way off.
That was Gabby Hoffman from the 1995 film. What was the movie with all the young girls? I don't remember.
You're on your own now.
Wild Things?
No. I hope they were not young.
Chief, what stood out to me though was who will be picking the successor.
Yeah.
And specifically, I'm a little disappointed by what's happening here. So the committee is
Let us do it.
The committee is chaired by LAFC's Bennett Rosenthal and the Crew's Jimmy Hasley. And other members include Jonathan Kraft of the New England Revolution, the Red Bulls' Oliver Mintzlaff, and Nashville SC's John Ingram. MLS said Garber also attended this meeting, which I think would be pretty weird if he didn't.
Yeah.
So.
Well, if the Browns are involved, then I'd like to say hello and welcome to our brand new MLS commissioner, Condoleezza Rice. Step on up to the plate right here.
Oh, it's Bucky from Bucky's.
Oh, yeah, it's actually just Bucky's.
Garber Bucky's.
Well, you'll be happy to know that they did, in fact, hire not necessarily headhunters, but not headhunters, the Miles Group is being tapped to
Miles
lead the
Robinson
succession planning process. So yeah, maybe Miles Robinson ends up as the commissioner.
Commissioner Miles Robinson really piss off the U.S. men's national team fans.
The Miles Tails group.
TM. Yeah, no, it'll be good.
So there's a short list that came out of potential replacements for Donnie. Were you surprised? Were either one of you surprised at how dull the names were? That there wasn't at least one or two wild card names on there that were just sort of out of left field?
What were the names? JB Pritzker.
I don't think I saw the names.
Gretchen Whitmer.
Sports Business Journal. It's just a who's who of club performance of league growth, EVP club performance and league growth, MLS, CEO US Soccer, CEO AEG, co-managing owner LAFC, president Kilmer Sports Ventures, principal Deloitte Consulting, EVP club business, international and league events with the NFL, former CEO Bundesliga, EVP chief legal officer of MLS, deputy commissioner NBA. It's all like you've heard.
It's going to be the Deloitte Consulting person.
Oh, there's no doubt.
There's no doubt it's going to be the Deloitte Consulting person. Everybody else, I know you didn't say the names, but like everybody else seems to have a job that's like seems pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Deloitte person, like that person wants out of that job.
Right. All right. Here, I'm going to read the list of names. You see if you can tell me which one is the Deloitte consulting person, just based on name alone.
Okay, hold on.
All right. Charles Altchek, JT Benson, Dan Beckerman, Larry Berg, Ivan Gazdas, Dan Helfrich, Peter O'Reilly, Christian Seifert, Anastasia Denise Smith, and Mark Tatum. One of those names belongs to the Deloitte consulting person.
Is it one of the Dans?
It is, in fact, one of the Dans.
Incredible.
Dan Helfrich, principal Deloitte Consulting.
Yep. It seems like it was one of the Dans.
It was not going to be, what was it, Anastasia?
It was not going to be Anastasia.
No, when you read the name Dan Helfrich, that's the name of a guy who owns a lot of very expensive suits and no ties.
Chief legal officer of MLS doesn't scream commissioner material to
that
me.
Person knows not to be commissioner.
Yeah. Like,
that person can get another job.
Well, the other thing, too, is
like if worst comes to worst, that person can get another job. The WNBA, the ATP, a lot of places need chief legal officers. Yes. You don't need to just like end your career tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that guy, but I would guarantee you he's worked for the World Wrestling Federation at one point in his life prior to joining MLS. Chief Compliance Officer for Vince McMahon.
But like if you work at Deloitte, you are getting out. Like one way or the other, you are out.
It's always like if you work at Deloitte long enough, I have to think that you eventually realize I need to get out of here before I'm sent somewhere. Where that is, I don't know, but it's like I've learned enough that there's a problem probably.
Deloitte probably has like a mandatory retirement age of like 68. And then when you hit the 68, they just get rid of you.
Yeah, you're done.
Yeah.
Like
no, I mean, like I think Grayson literally meant they kill you because I don't know anyone that retires in Detroit.
It's too much. They Logan's run you.
Right.
They Midsommar you.
You've been
Midsommar was actually about working at Deloitte.
The last story up on the agenda, gentlemen.
Yeah. And
there's no easy way to do this transition, but I guess being killed as a result of working for Deloitte for too long, that does kind of set the tone for this.
Yeah.
Yesterday, as we record this on Wednesday, November 19th, yesterday on Tuesday, rare that you say a bombshell drops, but an absolute bombshell of a story from Pablo Maurer in The Guardian that looks to be incredibly extensively sourced and reported, doing a deep dive into the Ernst Tanner era at Philadelphia Union. Ernst Tanner has been the longtime general manager there. He is largely credited with the success of the Philadelphia Union setup, the Philadelphia Union system. He was considered a mentor to a number of people in this league. Their team is Supporters Shield winning this year, won Supporters Shield a few years ago. And this is one of those rare stories, Kevin, where the longer you read it, you keep thinking it can't possibly get worse, and it somehow gets worse. It opens with an anecdote about Ernst Tanner shouting a homophobic slur from the owner's box, causing an entire group.
Say what you think it was. Say what you think it was.
Not going to do that. Not gonna go there.
Yeah, I agree.
It's the exact word you're thinking. So there you go. And so it gets worse from there. It's a story of a culture of racism, sexism, xenophobia, bullying behavior.
All the stuff that is valorized in our country at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly tolerated in some corners, but man,
I saw JD Vance tweet that he was just a child. He's just a little boy. You can't hold him. You can't ask him to lose his job for this.
What was astonishing with this is how long it had been going on.
Yeah.
Like
years.
Like they're talking
Years.
about like things that happened within the first couple of years.
And there's video.
Yes.
Like there's mentions of video. And here's the thing. Here's my I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but my whole thing on this is like I don't know. I don't know like what needs someone to like lose their job. I don't run Philadelphia Union. I don't run like this team or that team. I'm not saying like you say like this specific bad thing and you should like lose your job and like not work in MLS again or whatever. But like what struck me from Pablo's article is how like unserious the team and or MLS took all of it.
Yeah.
Like again, like I'm not saying it's clear from the article that Ernst Tanner should be fired. Right, or shouldn't be allowed to work in MLS or whatever. Like I think that's a decision for other people. There needs to be like other kind of like analysis done for that. But like what is striking is how frivolous the investigation and the analysis of all of it was. And that's like that is a problem. Is that all this stuff comes out and it's like we've got plausible deniability and nobody knows about it in the media, so we can just like rock and roll.
Yeah, I don't think frivolous is the right word. I think it's a joke.
Yeah,
and I think that beyond being a joke, this was deliberately hidden by MLS, and this was deliberately buried by the league.
Yeah,
and
I think that's true. I think that seems true from the story.
The hope was that whatever it was that Ernst Tanner has been doing, and to be clear, I think he denies a lot of this, but it is the evidence appears on its face to be so overwhelming and corroborated with a number of sources from Pablo's reporting and some video corroboration like you were talking about of what's going on.
Which, to be clear, we haven't seen the video, but I think Pablo is a very reputable journalist. If he says there's a video, I don't need to see the video. If he says there's a video and it has this on it, I don't know. I believe him.
Yeah.
And I think that this is one where there was a hope that no one would ever ask the question and that no one would ever say anything. There's been some rumblings, and you can believe this or you can't, that Ernst was already on his way out. Like they were anticipating this story would come to light at some point, that somebody was asking the right kind of questions about this to get this going. I'm not one to call for people's jobs. I'm not one of these people that like wants to get into a dog pile. In this one, I'm going to need a lot of compelling defense and a lot of compelling reputation to say that Ernst should be in this league. And it's profoundly weird to me and sad to me in this regard. And that's that I don't understand fundamentally how you work in this sport and how you make this sport your profession, to say nothing of your passion, if you hold such horrendous views about your fellow man and other people. Like I don't understand fundamentally how you can think of certain classes of people as subhuman, which you think I am exaggerating.
Yeah.
In this story, it is made abundantly clear that
Yeah.
the views and the statements of Ernst Tanner are that he views people specifically from Africa as being mentally deficient compared to people from the rest of the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's not an exaggeration. That is
No,
what the
it's not at
story
all.
is portraying. And I just don't understand. And maybe this is just like I'm naive to the ways of the world. I'm not naive to the idea that racism exists. It clearly exists. I don't understand why you choose to engage in a profession that, by its definition, requires you to bring people from around the world together to achieve some common goal if you just despise or think so little of a certain amount of them. I don't understand. The more you are exposed to this sport, the more that this sport allows you to see different people, different cultures, different backgrounds. I don't understand how you live this long and survive this long in the sport if you're so close-minded in that regard. That, to me, beyond the horrendous other stuff, I just don't know why do you get up and do this, man? Why do you do this?
Yeah.
There's so many jobs you can go into where you can just be among the people you like and that you think are all right. Why would you choose to make this your job? I don't get it. I don't.
There's a couple things that I thought of after reading the article. One is, as far as Chief, your point, like, how do you get away with this? Well, like, Philadelphia Union won the Supporter Shield this year with not just like half the payroll of like the top league, but like spending basically nothing on transfer fees. So he's literally saving Philadelphia's ownership like tens of millions of dollars a year versus chief soccer officers for other teams. So I think that that's a data point. And the other thing is like, um, you mentioned like, well, the other thing that stood out for me was there was some like defense of him in the article, right? Where they talk to various people and
Yeah.
they're like,
Oh,
oh,
God.
he's
That was
always been
bad.
nice to me or whatever,
Yeah.
you know? And it is what's striking is all of the on record quotes that came in defense of him were people who like currently work for him
Yeah.
and like depend on him and for a paycheck.
Yeah.
And none of them said like, I was at this place and he did not say this thing, right? It
Or
was
it was
all like,
misinterpreted or something.
it was all
Yeah.
like, I'm a woman who currently gets a bi-weekly paycheck from the Philadelphia Union, and he's always been nice to me.
Yeah. Ernst is a
Right?
great guy.
Like
Yeah.
it's very, very cynical kind of defense. And like, yeah, like he put out another statement that defended that said like, oh, I deny this stuff. But like the article, honestly, it was an incredible piece of journalism because I was expecting a lot more vagueness and innuendo when it came to like the specific
Oh,
actions.
it was in your
And
face.
no,
Direct.
it was incredibly specific. And it was like I spoke to 17 people who were there and they all said he said this.
Yeah.
You know? And like, yeah, like a lot of that requires you to accept that like Pablo is a reputable journalist who's not going to make up people said this. And like for me, that's the case. You know, if he says he spoke to X number of people who were in a situation and they all heard like this or some variation of it, to me, that's credible, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
And published in The Guardian, which will
yeah,
have,
of course.
you
Yeah.
know, standards and editors.
And
And
he's not a full-time employee of The Guardian. He's a freelancer.
so there's
So
even
that
more
means like
scrutiny.
they were comfortable to
Yeah.
publish a freelancer article for this case. And I just think like, you know, yeah, there's like a little bit of a leap of faith when it comes to like accepting that like, and I know we're in like a place in the world where whatever, but like you do kind of have to accept that like some point the people that are publishing media that you read are like reputable and like telling you the truth. And I think Pablo is publishing real things people told him, and there are people that he thinks are likely telling him the truth. And so like what struck me about the article was like not just how specific it was, but how like every time I thought like, okay, that's it like got worse.
It's more. Yeah.
Right. There was more and it was worse.
Yeah.
like
this,
oh man.
it's a cartoonish level of like bad guy. Like if this was like made for Disney Channel movie, it's like cliched lines
Yeah.
that you would be like, all right, we're gonna clearly establish this guy as the bad guy.
Right. No, it's like a Captain Planet level of villain where it's like
Yes.
I'm polluting because I love pollution, not because like I want my company to make more money. It's like, no, I despise clean rivers and clean air. Like that.
Right. It's like I'm polluting because I love pollution, and also I'm committing sex discrimination. I'm firing all the women I bought a company to like fire all the women that work there.
Right. I have created a machine that sexually harasses and emits a ton of CO2 into the atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly.
As a feature, not a bug.
Yeah. And what I thought was interesting too was, so they talked about prior investigations, and one, like, they couldn't corroborate anything. So well done, everybody. They really screwed that part of it up. But like they clearly found enough at one point to force him to take like, it was essentially like sensitivity training and things like that. So that's, you know, I can understand that. And I would even be willing to offer some grace to a foreign, you know, person coming to a new country, a new culture, new environment.
With this.
Nothing that is said here.
There is certainly like a level of something where you're like, okay, like,
yeah, you can't do that.
We'll put this guy through some sensitivity training,
right,
and give him another chance. But like this story is way beyond.
Right. But then on top of that, so like he's all like, some of this is already like known to him and the team and the league. So when he gives his statements, it is not even a, you know, I've made mistakes in the past and I'm learning and growing and like I'm thankful for the opportunity.
Like, he seems to deny even the stuff that he was required to go to like sensitivity, or even the stuff that apparently is on video that somebody has. Again, like release the tapes. We're not done yet, but
going back to that one, but like, yeah, like I don't know, like there's a version of this where I think he could have come across a little bit better, and the fact that he couldn't take that simple baby step just, I think, even corroborates it more for me.
Yeah, like the version of it is something is it's taken seriously. You know, the first time it gets to a point, and then it's corrected, which clearly didn't happen.
Right.
I don't put a lot of stake into anything that he said. I have a very strong suspicion that
a lawyer drafted it.
Not only a lawyer drafted it, but that like there's going to be an exit of some sort for Mr. Tanner this offseason. So there's not like a lot of point to trying to.
It feels tough.
Yeah, I don't see how you come back from this.
It feels tough at this point for like them to be so defensive. And I don't know if this is like publicly confirmed, but there has been some reporting that he's like back on suspension. And like when you go back on suspension for the stuff you were already suspended for,
You're not coming back.
you usually end up like it's usually a situation where it was like, we thought nobody would find out, but they found out, so I guess bye-bye.
Now, Grayson, you say back on suspension. Was he? I don't know that he was ever put on leave, was he?
Right. No, I don't think he was, but he was given the whatever.
Yeah, the training and stuff.
Training or whatever.
It's kind of like given the performance improvement plan at work. It's like once you've had that conversation, man, they're just laying the groundwork for firing you.
We've seen in various sports like coaches like get stuff like called out that had previously been known by the administration, and then they get suspended for it after it gets like publicly known, and then they get gone.
So he is not suspended again, but what did happen in the wake of this was MLS released a statement, which I'm just going to read because it's phenomenal. This is MLS's response to this. MLS recently concluded an investigation into the allegations raised by the MLS Players Association, which the MLSPA noted had not been independently verified. The league immediately launched an investigation, contacting more than a dozen current and former players and club employees. All individuals were offered the option to participate anonymously and assured they could speak without fear of retaliation. The fact that you have to say that generally means that there's a justified fear of retaliation. Anyway, it continues. A majority of those contacted participated, several anonymously, while others declined. After reviewing all available information and documentation, the investigation was unable to substantiate the allegations. Nonetheless, given the nature of the allegations, Mr. Tanner had been required to participate in the structured remedial program focused on professional workplace conduct. Following publication of a Guardian article that included new allegations and potentially new information, MLS will reopen the investigation. MLS maintains an anonymous reporting hotline and encourages anyone with relevant information to come forward. So he is not suspended, but wow, you found out about this. So I guess we probably need to reopen the investigation and save some face right here.
I think that the takeaway from this is that MLS has learned basically nothing from the various other, misconduct investigations that were done that they thought nobody would find out about. I mean, like my mind immediately goes to like the Portland situation, like Andy Polo, the domestic violence stuff. But I was gonna
go to Deloy Hansen with Real.
I was gonna say they got rid of an owner over this stuff.
Also the Portland stuff with the women's team. The Thorns. Yeah. Like all of those are, people knew about at least aspects of it, and nothing was really done until it became publicly known. And I think we should, like, again, like I'm not saying like, everybody should be fired for making like a comment or making a mistake or whatever, but we as fans are owed more than like just hoping that people don't find out about what people in the league do. Like we should expect them to act better in the first instance.
Yeah.
Than to wait until it becomes public knowledge and then just do damage control.
Yeah. I think it's interesting too. Two aspects of this I think are interesting. You've got Pablo Maurer is the one who publishes this recently. I don't know what his exact situation was, but
departed.
It does appear to have been let go or contract not renewed with the Athletic, but had also previously written for MLSsoccer.com. And I think it's interesting that the media landscape, as it has become slightly more independent, we are now starting to see more and more stories like this. And I know like people are upset by like, say, the loss of extra time and things like that. I honestly think the more, MLS is doing that is not journalism or not commentary, the better. Like, I appreciate the stable paychecks for those people and writing freelancers, and there will absolutely be a job for writing for the website, but I want to see more and more independent journalism, independent writers, independent outlets.
But people need to read it.
Yes,
Like
read
people,
it, support it financially.
when the Guardian pays Pablo
Yes.
for a freelance article on an MLS scandal, like people
Yes.
need to read it, people need to share it, it needs to like be known somehow
Yes.
that it made a dent, right?
It needs to
Yes.
break into the zeitgeist a little bit. Like it needs to have an impact.
Yeah, if like somebody like Jeff Ruder or Matt Doyle goes out on their own, and like, and I'm not even like saying like anybody in particular, but like there needs to be some kind of market or outlet for people to put their stuff.
Yes.
And it's not going to be like on the league website. It probably is not going to be at the Athletic for this kind of thing. It's not going to be the people breaking transfer rumors.
That's an entirely different beat, really. Yeah.
It's just a different beat. Like what's his face? Pablo Torre.
Yeah, no, the big takeaway is
Pablo
that if somebody
Torre
named
is
Pablo
not breaking
calls
free
you,
he's not breaking free agent signings, right?
yeah, no,
Like he's doing other stuff, but he's doing a good job, and he's getting it out there because there's an audience for it, and he's making money doing it. And there needs to be that for MLS if you care about holding the league accountable.
Yeah. The big takeaway from this is that if somebody named Pablo calls you and you're running a sports organization, hang the phone up.
Yeah.
Just don't take that call. It's like, hi, this is Pablo. I want to talk to you about the fuck you do. Click.
I'll say the other thing that was interesting to me, especially Grayson, you brought up, like, so many of these stories were sort of long-standing issues that then became public and therefore became sort of the crisis right then and there for the club or the organization. The one that doesn't quite fit that mold is the one that we still don't quite know what happened, is the Bruce Arena story, which I do think Pablo Maurer was like one of the writers, if not the writer, on that initial story.
He was the writer on it, but it was all, and I'm not like faulting Pablo for this.
Yeah.
At all. You can only report
what's there and what you're being paid to investigate
and
too.
And what people give you, right? Pablo was all over like the fact of it happening.
Yeah.
The source of it happening. And like all the information we know about it, I believe, comes from Pablo. But what we don't know, which
what
again,
happened?
I'm not saying it's like Pablo's fault. We don't have that. It's like nobody's like giving it to a journalist in a way that can be reported. Is like, what did Bruce do?
Right.
Like, what did he say?
And now I really want to know this because, like, I need to compare it to what Ernst Tanner was
I really
doing.
want to know, like, what you can say that gets you fired.
Right.
Because we have a very well-reported story about what you can say and do that doesn't get you fired.
And from what I can understand and piece together with the Bruce Arena story, it was one incident. It was one utterance.
Yes, that does seem to be the case. Is it was like one comment one time.
Yeah. So like, if it was a pattern of abuse or whatever, then, that's different.
I struggle to think what you could say in one instance that would be
that tops what's in this story.
Yeah, like
because that's sort of the level
I can think of
exactly
one thing.
Yeah.
Oh. The Rise of Skywalker is the best Star Wars movie.
That actually might be a fireable.
So and the other thing with Bruce is like the longer time goes on, the more I'm convinced is that what happened with Bruce was not that he did any particular thing that was beyond the pale. Is that he did something, and he was already on the wrong side of somebody who like thought Bruce was too big for his britches.
Yeah. No, Bruce has
And
an enemies list.
yeah,
Like he's been
yeah,
around
for sure.
yeah,
For sure.
like he's been around way too long.
Bruce has an ego.
Yeah.
He's not gonna like, suffer people who he reads as fools. He's not gonna like bow
Which he
down to
reads as
people
just
that he
people.
doesn't. Yeah, he's not gonna like bow down to somebody that he thinks doesn't like deserve it. So like it my assumption on the whole situation, which is obviously like I'm open to information, happy to learn new information, is that somebody whose ego he bruised
Yeah.
saw an opening
Yeah.
and took it.
I have to go back and double check the timeline. I want to say the Patriots dump Belichick within a few months of this happening as well. I don't wonder if one of the Crafts or all of the Crafts just got sick of the crotchety old men in their lives.
Maybe it was Jordan that took Bruce Arena out.
That would be the ultimate story. Dude, if Jordan like walked out and took a pipe and like hit Bruce in the knees.
Look, we don't.
You know
I
what
don't
it
get
was, guys. You know what it was.
Honestly,
it was Jordan.
I might be for it at that point.
Jordan was trying to get with Bruce. He turned her down. He's obviously her type, right? So like he turns her down.
He traded up to the older model.
It's almost like if somebody tried to just like force getting to host another season of The Apprentice and ended up as president.
All I'm saying is that if you
try to get with Bruce Arena and you end up with Bill Belichick,
if you have information
that's pretty good.
If you have information that Jordan caused the downfall of Bruce Arena, the DMs are open. I want to hear your story. Anonymity possibly guaranteed.
Dude, if we get a Jordan story,
that's it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm all in.
We're made men.
Next is a meme coin and a rug pull. Let's do this, guys.
Oh God. So yeah, interested to see how this story ends. It's tough to see a way out for Ernst to keep his job, but he's managed it this long, and I wouldn't put anything past him. So, all right, let's wrap this episode up. Let's go on over to part 2. We're going to look ahead to the weekend's playoff matches. We're going to tell you which ones are worth your time. Right. We are back, and it is playoff time, folks. We did hint at that at the beginning of the episode.
Maybe. Just so newsy otherwise.
Yeah, there's so much going on. Save it for the offseason, MLS. We've got 4 matches. I'll say this weekend. One of these games is on Monday, which is a little frustrating.
Lunas.
Yeah, right. Sure. So, with that, I like your suggestion here, Grayson, of sort of ranking these games in terms of watchability or excitement or what we'd like to see. So, I guess, what do we see as the number 4? What is the least exciting matchup this weekend, and why is it Philadelphia NYCFC?
It's because NYCFC is missing several key contributors. It doesn't seem like they would have been, I think, probably the longest shot to advance out of all the teams that are currently left in the competition.
Yeah. There's
not a lot of star power in this matchup. NYCFC is very hurt. And I don't see them having much of a chance against this Philadelphia team. Now, we just spent a long time talking about all like the capital D distraction going around in Philly. I don't know to what degree that impacts anything going on the playing surface. I'm guessing very little, but if there was ever a story that could cause distraction that permutates down from the owner's box or the front office, it's finding out that you're employed by a guy that you might not interact with well enough or closely enough to know has, feelings about you or people that look like you. I don't know the answer to that question, but it's got to be that game just because I don't think anyone is giving New York really more than a puncher's chance of advancing.
Yeah, I mean, like, obviously New York could win.
Sure.
But
it's MLS. Anyone can win anytime.
I would say they were a heavy dog going into the game. And with the injury situation that is happening, I highly doubt the Tanner stuff is that big of a distraction for the players. My read on Philly for years has been that the Tanner love goes up more than down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he's like tighter with ownership than he is with anybody that works for him.
I mean, the guy famous in the league for not paying high wages can't be the most popular
Yeah.
guy in the
Yeah.
locker room.
Yeah.
I feel bad for NYCFC fans just because, you lose Alonso Martinez on international duty
Mm-hmm.
when you were already having injury problems before. And it was tough to see a way through with Alonso Martinez, with Martinez being out for this series. Or not even series, this game. It sucks. And
Yeah.
we joked about it at the start of the show. The move to the new schedule format will end, at least there will always be a risk of players being injured while out on international duty. At the very least, with the new schedule format, you won't have that risk in the middle of a playoff run any longer, which sucks.
So
Yeah.
what? There's a April window, right? Early April window. That'd be the one that you'd have
Yep.
to
You
keep
got to
your
watch
eye
out
on.
for.
Yeah, and I've been pretty high on this NYCFC team.
I think you've been the highest of the three of us on the
I've
team.
been the highest on the three of us, but like losing that guy, that's very tough because he is such a good player and such an important player for them. Philly's going in high, and so yeah, I'm with you guys. That game is number 4.
Yeah. And I think we're all picking Philly to win that one. So
Yeah.
I think
think
that's
so.
that's an easy one.
Again, like they might
Anything
not,
can happen.
but I feel
This
pretty
is-
good. I feel pretty good about Philly winning.
I would feel confident in that pick.
So for number 3, I'm going to throw perhaps a controversial choice out there.
Don't do it.
I think it's Cincinnati, Miami.
I don't
I
think
think
so.
it's the third most interesting matchup.
No.
Allow me to make my case for San Diego, Minnesota.
Okay, you can be wrong.
San Diego, Minnesota.
I agree. Those are the games that we're discussing.
Yeah, no, number one is
Vancouver.
Really easy.
Vancouver LAFC is number one. So here's my case for San Diego, Minnesota. It's a clash of styles. We got two young managers. Minnesota doing everything they can to not play proper football here, or maybe they are playing proper football with long throws and long balls.
Depends on how you view it.
And San Diego, who is one of the most free-flowing, beautiful attacking teams that we've seen in some time. The last 2 matchups, as in the only 2 matchups between these two teams, has resulted in a total of 10 goals total. I think this has some heat behind this matchup, but you guys disagree with me, so I will accept that San Diego, Minnesota as our number 3.
I don't hate San Diego, Minnesota. I think it's going to be a really good game.
I mean, these are good games at this point in the season.
Well, NYC
-1.
Philly, I don't love that. No,
NYCFC Philly has the greatest potential to be a blag game.
Yeah,
still could be. But I do think generally, like these are all games that if you're a fan of the league, you should be watching.
I would watch. Yeah. I don't dislike any of these games like that. Like, I think that San Diego, Minnesota has the opportunity to be a thriller. Minnesota has played some banger games in this playoffs. They have got very much a never say die attitude. And I don't think you can count them out at any time of a game just because they are so well coached. They are probably, I would say, of the teams remaining, the best coached team that is left right now. I think that they're doing more with less than most of the teams that are left in these playoffs. The problem that you've got, if you want to say that they are the better of the 2 games we're talking about right here, is that what this game is lacking is lacking star power.
Yeah, it's the big knock here.
is just that, like, when you think about what do you want from the playoffs at this time of the year, what is it that, you feel it in your plums, so to speak, is you are looking to see the best players in the league, the players who can do incredibly special things with the ball, playing against one another. And the two best games of the weekend, LAFC, Vancouver, and then the other one is Cincinnati, Miami. We're on this Cincinnati, Miami game. You are going to have Lionel Messi. You are going to have Sergio Busquets. You are going to have Luis Suarez. You're going to have Kevin Denke. You're going to have Evander. You're going to have Brenner. Like, that is all up and down the rosters of these teams are just player after player of guys that have been greats in this league, have been greats internationally. You have number 1 and number 2 in the MVP race, at worst number 1 and number 3 in the MVP race between Lionel Messi and Evander. You've got guys that can score in different ways. You've got teams that can defend and score in different ways. I think it's all FC Cincinnati, Miami for if there's a clear number 2 behind the number 1, it's got to be those, just because you are going to see some of the best players this league has to offer on the field at the same time.
Yeah. I think there's no chance San Diego, Minnesota is a beautiful game to watch. It's either going to be a slaughter by San Diego.
Yeah.
Or it's going to be a Eli
rock
Roth
fight.
movie.
Yeah, rock fight.
Like, it'd be like a Hostel movie. Like, it's going to be tortuous. Even if it's close, it's going to be like people taking turns drilling each other's eyes out. Like, it's not. It's going to be tough to watch. Like, I don't say that with any disrespect to how Minnesota plays.
No, but it's like an art house film. It demands a lot of you to enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
It asks something of the viewer.
And it's something is going to happen in that game. I think, if you're a fan of the league, you should watch it and experience it and see what that happens. The odds are you're not going to like it as much as these other two games.
No, you're not going to enjoy it. You're going to experience it. There's a big difference between those two things. Yes. That there are a lot of things in life that everyone should experience, even if you don't necessarily enjoy it or derive pleasure or amusement from it. And that is this. That's like, it is the going to an art museum of soccer, where there's a lot of stuff in the art museum that does absolutely nothing for me, but it's still important that I experience that, just to, just not only say that I've done it, but to see if I do in fact feel something when I look at it.
Yeah. It's like watching Beau is Afraid.
So with that, San Diego, Minnesota. We all taking San Diego? Anybody want to take Minnesota here?
I'll take San Diego.
I'm going to take San Diego. I'm going to go chalk on this one too.
I am taking Minnesota only because this is my dream scenario, because I'm in favor of the calendar switch. I've noticed online the folks who are probably the most against it are folks from Minnesota. I am praying for FC Cincinnati to host Minnesota in the final, and it's a blizzard. That's all I want. That's all I want.
So here's why I'm picking San Diego. I think San Diego could blow Minnesota out, or I think that the game could be like a total
nil-nil going to penalties.
Accident.
Yeah.
Right?
I could see that too.
And so between those two scenarios, it seems like San Diego's the most likely winner.
Yeah. That makes sense. So Cincinnati, Miami is
number 2.
The star
I think
power.
Our consensus number 2.
Yeah.
Star power, firepower, two teams who have had rough goes of it in terms of defense. It's an exciting one. I will say, of all the teams in the league, Cincinnati does seem to play Miami particularly well, Messi or without Messi. And the last time these two teams played in a game of true consequence was the 2023 U.S. Open Cup. For my money, that is the best. I would love to be able to say it's the best MLS game I've ever seen, but it wasn't an MLS game. So I have to phrase it as it was the best game I've ever seen between two MLS teams.
Yeah,
It's a
there you
little
go.
awkward, but it's the best way to phrase it.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that again.
I'm excited. I think what this game is going to turn on seriously is whether or not Luis Suarez plays. Because if Luis Suarez is playing, what he adds to this Inter Miami team in terms of firepower, he subtracts in terms of their ability to aggressively press.
Yeah.
Because with both him and Messi on the field, it definitely takes two players out of the defensive equation with a high press. And the way that you get to FC Cincinnati is with a high press defense that forces turnovers, disrupts FC Cincinnati's ability to get into the final third and get the ball to their attacking pieces. They have played Inter Miami very well when Suarez and Messi have been on the field. Where they struggled this year with Inter Miami was in the game where Suarez and Messi were suspended, and Miami had to go with a younger, more athletic, more energetic lineup, and they high-pressed the hell out of FC Cincinnati and forced a 0-0 draw. So
Yep.
I think Suarez is going to play. I think Suarez is going to start, and I think if that's the case, I think FC Cincinnati wins this game.
Yeah, I think FC Cincinnati wins the game. The reason that this game is number 2 for me is I think it's going to be a competitive game. I think it's going to be an exciting game.
That's always good.
I think it's going to be a game worthy of the conference semifinals of the playoffs. I don't think it's going to be a game where that ends up like 4-3.
No, I don't think so.
Or like
If
I don't think it's
going to
be like a big. I don't think it's going to be like a big. I don't think there's any potential for this game to be a big shootout where teams are just like trading goals, and it's like the game that's in my head right now is like the Philly LAFC final from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Where it's like you can't believe what you're watching. Like
Right.
I think it's going to be much more of a nail biter than that kind of game. Which also it's a great watch.
Yeah. Especially if you don't care about the result.
But yeah, I'm picking Cincinnati to win the game, and I'm ranking this game number 2 because I think the other game has like greatest game in MLS history potential.
Yes.
Sold out, 53,000 tickets already sold to BC Place for Vancouver LAFC. Hyunmin Son against Thomas Muller live on MLS.
Both these teams just pile on goals.
Yeah.
Especially late in the season after the additions, after getting healthy, after all the stuff, right?
Two incredibly attractive brands of soccer, wide open, attacking,
7-6,
energetic.
Maybe.
You want to talk about star power of the FC Cincinnati Miami game? Star power is even higher for this game. Just, there is all over the field. Sebastian Berhalter, Brian White, Denny Buwanga, Hyunmin Son. The other thing that's kind of gone under the radar that was interesting is that early in the year we had on a Vancouver Whitecaps reporter, and he said the weak link of this team was goalkeeping, if you'll recall. Well, Takioka has had an incredible season this year, as it turns out. He has been unbelievable goalkeeping for Vancouver. It's turned into a team strength. They can beat you in a number of ways. They're at home. They're on turf. They're going to have an incredibly friendly crowd. I got Vancouver in this game. Like, I know it doesn't make sense. I know that the odds, and it seems like the hype is more in favor of LAFC. I think Vancouver, I think they take it. I think that they win at home. I've got this as a 2-1 win for Vancouver on a late winner set up by Thomas Muller.
I do hope it is a pro Vancouver crowd and not a pro Son crowd. Vancouver could easily become a pro Sun crowd, just throwing it out there. But no, I do think they'll be good. Grayson, I want to ask you this. I've had this thought that Vancouver LAFC is sort of the de facto conference final, as I would expect the winner here
Yeah,
to
I agree with
easily
that.
defeat the other one.
Yep.
Is it a similar situation with Cincinnati, Miami, that the winner will be favored?
No. Philly could take either team down.
Okay.
Yeah, Philly will be the favorite. I think Philly will be the favorite regardless who wins that FC Cincinnati game.
I think it was a situation where honestly, the side that Miami and Cincinnati were on, with Miami having to go through Nashville, and Cincinnati having to go through Columbus, and then the winners of those series having to play each other, that's the gauntlet on the East that is waiting to play Philly.
Right.
And Philly is the juggernaut. Philly is quite good.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not trying to take anything away from Philly.
So I don't think this, but I think you're right about the West.
Yeah.
Where whoever comes out of Vancouver LAFC is going to be the prohibitive favorite.
Yeah.
To
win MLS Cup. And not just to win the West. I think to win
probably
MLS
to win
Cup.
MLS Cup. Probably. And I'm that's a good segue. I'm picking LAFC in this game 4-3, and I think LAFC wins MLS Cup.
Yeah.
I
don't disagree. I've had LAFC along the entire way along.
I think LAFC is the best team in the league right now. Love Vancouver.
Yeah.
Love Vancouver. I think they run into I think they just, bad luck. Played the wrong team at the wrong time.
A lot of travel for Son. A lot of travel for him.
Yeah. Oh, man. He is so good, though.
He really is. He's unreal. Kevin, who do you got in this?
I want to give it to Vancouver because I think the story of Vancouver's 2025 season, it needs to end with at least an MLS Cup appearance.
So the official World's Gam pick for this game is Vancouver.
Comes down to Chief.
Yeah. Vancouver.
Chief said Vancouver.
I said Vancouver already.
I missed that.
Yeah, I said Vancouver. Yeah, we're Vancouver. We've been accused of being a pro Vancouver podcast all along. So
the Electoral College went to Vancouver.
It is a coin flip though, and
if you're in line, stay in line.
I am with Chief. I'd be fine putting, the winner of this game is the MLS Cup favorite.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Yeah,
to watch this game.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Game of the season, really. This is.
I think you're not wrong.
Game of the season. I might even say game of the last couple seasons. This is pretty. This is pretty special.
I think this has been a great MLS season.
Yeah.
Regular season and playoffs. And I feel very lucky.
Yeah.
That we get the playoff matchups that we get this weekend. And I think the Eastern Conference certainly is going to have a hell of a matchup for the final, and MLS Cup is going to be top tier.
Yeah. Although, you want to give the devil his due, with the switch to the new schedule, the new playoff format, if it's as we think, it will raise the possibility of that MLS Cup final being a matchup like LAFC Vancouver, whereas now, because of the way the conferences work, they have to meet with one another before having a cup final, which I think is kind of cool. That would be a good aspect of all that. So I guess we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah.
We'll check
Chief,
in next
I do
week.
want to say real quick.
It's late, Kevin.
What's exciting about this matchup, LAFC Vancouver, they have quite the storied history. You go back to 2023, they were playing each other in the Champions League, a two-legged affair. They played a best-of-3 series of the playoffs. They played a best-of-3 series in 2024 as well. So much history. So hyped for this one.
How can you not be? How can you not love this? The best MLS has to offer. Until then, bring back the mutiny, and more than ever today, release the tapes, MLS.
The World's Game is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com, where you can find out more information about the people putting this podcast together. I also want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers, a fantastic band that has provided us with all of the music in this episode. The voiceover work at the beginning of the episode was done by Steph E., which was paid for her time and also not an AI voice. And if you have liked what you have heard so far, or even if you haven't, I am begging you, please like us, rate us, review us, leave us 5 stars. That would be amazing. Leave a little note saying how much you liked it. But maybe more importantly, share this with a friend or mention us to another fan of an MLS team. I think that would be a lovely way to help our little community grow. But regardless of whether or not you liked it, whether or not you share it, whether or not you review it, I want to say thank you for listening to it.